Hello, hello, hello. It is I, Rikryu, the one with the paws. So I spent about 5 hours while I was at work doing this. You can get a glimpse of the fruits of my labor here. As you can see, Marcus has over 3,000 HP. Oh my god. Yeah, so he's level 44 now. And I said I was gonna do an episode of this, so I'm still gonna keep going. Before I continue, I just want to show I've also managed to get max ethers, so there is absolutely no reason not to use magic at any point whenever I can or want. I forgot ethers dropped here, honestly, but even if they didn't, you still get more than enough. So yeah, we're just gonna do a recording for, about an hour. Then I might still keep going, honestly. I mean, by this point. Ugh. But this is definitely overkill. I'm pretty sure 44 is more than enough. Oh, right. I also forgot that, Gil is a thing here. So, I guess the God in Robe trick feels so unimpressive now in hindsight. Oh, man. So, yeah, how are all of you? Hopefully doing great. I'm decent. I was really tired during work last night. It was abysmal. It didn't help that I was actually kinda busy, and why I didn't bother making a recording while I was doing this last night. But it is what it is. A miss? Really? You're level 44, man. So nothing really interesting happened since I last sat down and started recording. Still just general stress going on. Annoying noises outside from everything happening in the parking lot. The cat has not been happy about that, obviously. But it is what it is. We took a little nap together not too long ago. And by nap, I mean 5 to 6 hour nap. Because I was, again, very tired. That usually ends up happening on Tuesdays, sadly. But not much I can do about it, because that is my work schedule, and that is what I have to live with if I want to survive. I felt a little sick, but that was mostly because allergies. I actually had to take a full-on Benadryl instead of store generic allergy relief. Same chemical compound, in theory should be the same, but I don't know, maybe the power of name brand works better. I have no idea. So, I actually pulled up a random coffee generator, and the first thing that it listed was actually what I was just gonna talk about anyway. It is, what was the last movie you watched and how was it? Well, when I got home, I actually got onto Netflix and was checking some stuff out there, and there's a horror movie that I did want to check out. Back when it first dropped, Talk to Me, that was what it was called, Talk to Me. As I remember seeing a trailer for that, and normally horror trailers are terrible. They will reveal a good chunk of the movie that I think should be kept secret for shock value. Then again, I also don't care for trigger warnings, so I guess that's why I feel that I don't know. Point is, the trailer I remember played out just more like a scene from the movie, and it gave me enough information to be like, that is something I want to see. Whereas, oh god, that reminded me of another trailer. It was so weird trailer, because, like, it kept going. It was some movie, took place in Europe, and it was like this couple meeting another couple. They both have a kid. One of the other couple, the bad couple's kid doesn't talk. And as the trailer just kept going, I came to realize I can predict every single beat of this movie because they were showing so much stuff. And it got to the point, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna Google this. I'm gonna Google and read the entire plot synopsis. And I did, and I was absolutely right. Every single beat of that movie was predictable. And I'm like, why would they ever show a trailer like that? I think it was like See No Evil, Speak No Evil, something like that. Then what shocked me more was the amount of people claiming that it was scary. Because, like, some of the things the bad couple did, I'm like, these are obvious red flags. Do not trust these people, do not speak to these people. And, like, so many people are like, yeah, but that's why it's so scary. That's, like, our culture. We would just, like, totally believe these people all the time. And I'm like, that's really depressing. Like, you've never been lied to before in your life? You've never met a con artist? You've never been scammed out of even just 50 cents from your friend in school? Like, that, I could not wrap my head around it. Now, on the other hand, I'm extremely envious if that is genuinely terrifying to people and is something they've rarely ever encountered. Like, I am beyond envious if, there are actually cultures where trusting 99% of the people you meet is the norm. I wish I lived in that culture. I wish I lived in a place where that was a safe thing to do. But growing up, that's definitely not the lesson I learned. But anyway, so talk to me. I loved it. There were some like, it wasn't like fully gripping for the whole entire movie. There were scenes where I'm like, yeah, whatever. But a movie doesn't have to be every single scene is like super good and amazing. And there were, when I was thinking back on it, there is actually one moment where I'm like, wait, whatever happened to this character? They kind of just stopped being in the movie. That's weird. I mean, they were present during the bad moment. I wonder what happened to them. I don't know. Or maybe I wasn't paying attention and I don't know. But I really liked it. Like, I knew I was gonna like it when I saw that trailer, and I said, as long as I don't see another trailer where they start showing more of the movie, I'll check it out. It came out, I think, in 2022, I'm gonna say. Because I remember the trailer sometime during the tail end of COVID, I want to say. I'm not 100%. Or maybe it was the start of 2022. Because I'm pretty sure I was still working at the old store, but I honestly don't remember. It was one of those movies where when I finished, my brain did the shut off thing, where I'm like, I don't want to do anything right now. Like, I literally just sat at my desk here for about 30 minutes, staring at a wall, just processing that experience I had. That doesn't happen too often. So when it does, like, it's something I deeply respect. Even when it's like, maybe respect not the right word, deeply, no, not enjoy, let's just go with respect. It's like, sometimes it'll happen with a game or a movie that's honestly really bad, but there'll just be a moment that deeply resonates with me, and I have to sit and think on it, feel those emotions. And it's because they're emotions or thoughts and experiences that I never thought of in a particular way, or maybe it's more so haven't felt in a while. Because in this game, for example, I remember during the scene where you have to go up to the tower, like, I was tearing up. And that is a strong emotional reaction for me. But my brain didn't shut down. It didn't have to, like, reset and process, recalibrate what I just experienced. Because it's such a familiar emotion. Or rather, I know how to continue to function with that information. I think that's what it is. I'm... okay, sorry. So, yeah, if you like horror movies, it is definitely a more unique take on ghost stories. Channeling, inviting a spirit into yourself, whether you believe that or not, blah blah. Channeling is not a new concept in the horror medium, or any storytelling, for that matter. Mediums are a very common trope, and psychics, all that. But the way the movie took that concept, I have not seen before. And you can predict, oh, this is gonna happen, sure, but it was still such a unique concept to me. And for all I know, there was a 1950 movie I never quite watched that slipped my radar. I'm not gonna claim I'm a huge movie buff, but I do go back and look at movies, God, as far back as 1920, good old silent films. Yeah. Phantom of the Opera, anyone? But, anyway. So, let's do another topic. What? Click. What's the most refreshing thing on a hot summer day? Not going outside. And AC blasting at 60 degrees. Salad. If I was to pick, like, a food to eat, a cold salad. I never understood the people who cook hot meals with the oven in summer. Or on the stove, even. Or even in the microwave. It feels such a weird thing to me. Like, why would you eat something hot that will make you hot and warmer when it is already abysmal and you don't want to be hot and warm? I don't understand it. But I am absolutely the weird one on this, apparently, because most of everyone I've ever talked to feels the exact opposite for me. So, I don't know. I guess to them, they don't understand me. Well, okay, that's the given. Most people don't understand me. I barely understand me. I don't expect other people to understand me either. That would be very, very, oh god, what's the word? Self-righteous, self-absorbent, petty, pretentious, maybe? No. It would be very arrogant of me to expect others to understand me. There we go. What was the... It just generated the last movie I watched again. What? Were you the class clown or the teacher's pet? Both. Easy. I was very witty in school. Maybe I'm still witty, I don't know. But I also always wanted to ensure that the teacher liked me a lot. But that was because my sibling was not a great student. I don't want to say trouble child, but they were known to not do well with grades. Let's just put it that way. And just others were, and then the other siblings were disruptive, the younger ones. The point is, I wanted to go out of my way and show I am nothing like my brothers or sisters, etc. So I would do the best I possibly could in school. I had straight A's, except for history. In history, I would average C's. I think the only time I got above a C was once in high school. It was a B. But then in college, they were all A's. But I don't know what shifted there. Anyway. The teachers, for whatever reason, we kept getting the same teachers even though we were a grade apart. So I would have to get the same teachers my sister did, and they would already have, like, this pre-made conception of me. Or, I would get a different teacher, this more in 6th grade and onwards, when there were multiple teachers throughout the whole day. But, she was such an interesting student that they would talk about her in the teacher's lounge. So even if my sister never had a teacher I would get, they would already have an expectation of me because they recognized the last name. So the first month would be me trying to establish a new rapport. I didn't use that word when I was a little tween, but that was essentially what I was doing. And once the teacher realized, oh, he's actually a good student, I would then, start making genuinely funny jokes with them after I would, read their personality, figure out what jokes they like, what they don't like. Some of them insult humor, some of them self-deprecating humor to myself or themselves, which I guess would be insult, but whatever. Others just liked the witty puns, but I don't know if I've ever made any puns in this. Oh, no, I made the Tootsie pun with Professor Tut. I was very offended. How dare you refer to a man with closed shoes as Tootsie? We don't know what his feet looks like. I don't care to know either. It's not my type. Too mustachy. Where was I going with this? Oh, right, I was just talking, I went on a tangent. Did your family take seasonal vacations? No! Just no. I wish I can share a story about anything like that, but we didn't. I didn't know that was a thing people did in the summer or spring or winter or anything. I think the closest to a quote-unquote vacation would be going to the beach and maybe spending a night or two there. I don't think that's a vacation, though. That just sounds like spending a weekend at the beach. Yeah, so I guess that would be the next. What's the first thing you do when you wake up? I go stand in the mirror, and I stare into it for about 5 minutes as I start to see tears stream down my cheeks. And then I say aloud to myself, one day, you will be happy. And then I go make my coffee. And, yeah. It's usually me just getting ready for work. Just immediately. Okay, so what do I actually do? I get up. Feed the cat. Change his water. The restroom, make coffee. I usually don't eat breakfast at home. I'll usually just eat that at work. Because free food. I have to make sacrifices because money is a thing. So I find the best way to eat most of my meals is at work. Dinner is essentially the only thing I eat at home, except for on my days off. Just today, actually, I had a little broccoli and carrot salad with some peanut butter sauce. I made that when I got home, but I didn't eat it until just before the recording. Oh, right, when I did get home, I finally got to try those original flavor cup of noodles. I'm not impressed. If they weren't bad or gross or anything, I would definitely eat them again if I can get them for a cheaper price, but it's not something I would like to order again. Not when I can get 12 for, like, up half of the price I paid for half of the amount. Like, it was like, $5 for 12, roughly. Now it's more than 5. I guess it was slightly more than half. Okay, whatever. The ratio still applies. I paid 5 for 12, and 10 for 6 for the original. So, I mean, if it was more like $7.50 to 6, I'd be like, yeah, okay, sure. But, yeah, it wasn't that great. It didn't taste like how I expected. I heard the flavor profile was pork and shrimp, but I didn't taste the shrimp unless I was actually eating it. Like the big pieces, that I will say. But a big piece of shrimp does cup of noodle not make. But the pork I absolutely tasted when I was drinking the broth, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I mean, but by that point, I think I'd rather just have a pork-flavored version for half the price for the double the quantity, but I could have sworn that used to be a thing, but I have not seen a Nissan pork. Like, I could have sworn that used to be a thing. Did they just not do them? Like the Lunchable hot dogs? I love the Lunchable hot dogs, but I am an insane, gross man. I'm sorry, I'm an insane, gross, furry boy. Man. Alright. Next topic. What does your own personal hell look like? How about your own personal heaven? I guess my personal heaven would just be everyone is anime, boy, and girl all the time. More boys than girls. Because, yay. Probably be a world where you can walk barefoot and not have to worry about your feet getting dirty or cut up. But also, still, flip-flops would be better anyway, because they just are so much more aesthetically pleasing than bare feet. My own hell, though. Strangely enough, not foot related. Or anime related. It's so hard. Because there's so many bad things I can't imagine, but objectively, there's just always gonna be worse things. A certain scene from the movie I just watched actually come to mind. I'm like, yeah, that would... I think that would just be hell for everyone. Like, that is objectively the... probably one of the worst things that can always be happening to you. I would like it to... I would like my hell. I would like my hell to be like Silent Hill. Not because I would think there is a way to get out of it or survive it. I'm thinking this in terms of I can't escape it. I want it to be like Silent Hill because then I can have some enjoyment trying to study and piece together the monsters. Like, if it's a Silent Hill 1 monster style, I'm like, oh, okay, so, how does this represent this person, that, or if it's the Silent Hill 2 version, I'm like, oh, how do these monsters reflect me as a person? But if I'm getting some enjoyment out of it, it's not really a personal hell now, is it? That would probably be more like my Limbo. Alright, if you open a restaurant, what kind of food would you serve? I have the most experience with pizza. I worked at a pizza place for roughly 9 years, or might have been 6. I'm so dyslexic that even time cannot be understood by my brain. I, however, have specialty dishes that I enjoy making that are not pizza related at all. Quiche is probably my favorite to make because it's so simple and I can freeze it very easily. Oh yeah, I haven't made a quiche in a while. Yeah, I should load up on those. Anyway, I'm also one of the few people, apparently, who know how to cook Brussels sprouts. Like, growing up, I remember being like a kid, between teen, all the way up into adulthood, everyone's saying how they don't like Brussels sprouts. And I never had Brussels sprouts. I never understood the hate for it. And I made some, and I thought they were delicious. It was like this, it was a recipe I found online. And I had other people try them who said they didn't like Brussels sprouts. God, I was 18, 19 at the time. And they were shocked, because they're like, wow, this is actually really good. And I'm like, that's weird. How have you guys been having Brussels sprouts? And I didn't put it together yet, but they said that they were steamed or boiled. Or no, one said steamed, one said boiled, I'm assuming. Okay, whatever. Point is, as I kept asking people who I've had try my Brussels sprouts, would always say the same thing. They have them steamed or boiled. And that's kind of when I realized, oh, I think the reason everyone hated Brussels sprouts is because they were never served Brussels sprouts cooked properly. Like, that would make a lot of sense. So, yeah. Don't steam or boil your Brussels sprouts. You should be baking them. And there are plenty of recipes you can use for that. Bacon and cheese Brussels sprouts, cheesy Brussels sprouts, garlic Brussels... Like, there's just so many ways you're supposed to prepare them. That is not steam or boil related. Or serve them. But, if I was to open a pizza restaurant, I don't think I'd have my Brussels sprout dish. Or maybe it would be some weird out-of-place appetizer nobody would order. Because they will assume they're steamed or boiled, and therefore are gross. Also a fan of a lot of tofu, but I feel weird opening a tofu store. Like, I'm not confident in any of that ability. Nope. Do movies have the same power as books to change the world? Well, considering more people watch movies than books, I'm gonna say yes, considering that more people are influenced by a random YouTube video and TikTok now. Yes. And that kind of pains me as a writer to say. I'm like, yeah, I read more books, but yeah, that's a silly question to ask for a random topic. Why would... Who was your oldest friend? Where did you meet them? I don't know. People seem to come and go in my life a lot. They'll disappear. Or we just lose touch and we don't talk anymore. Like, I have a few friends in town, but we don't ever hang out. I mean, we used to hang out almost once a week, but then COVID happened, and, well, yeah, we just never really reconnected ever since then. We tried, like, every few months we'll get together, but we're all always too busy with things now. But that's kind of just how it is being an adult, not trying to make friends or any kind of connection. You have to work around both of your schedules, and some schedules are non-compromising. That's just life. So, yeah, I guess my oldest friend would be 4 to 6 years, give or take. I mean, I'm thinking back all the way into school, too, but yeah, 4 to 6 years seems to be longer than normal, actually. The average, I would say, would be 0 to 2 years. 3 years is a good, but more than that, it's weird. Or not common, I should say. Oh my god, am I really going through all the topics? I just got Class Clown or Teacher's Pet one again. Which emerging technology are you most excited about? I don't know, I live under a rock, clearly. Let's see. I don't know, are we working on the ability to turn humans into anthropomorphic animals yet? I'd be excited for that. How's that research on the immortal jellyfish going? I'd be very interested in that technology. For science, biology. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really follow any tech trends that I can think of, at least. Alright. What do you think about reality TV? Why do you think it's so popular? Oh, that's a loaded question. It depends on the reality TV. Some of it is obviously fake, some of it is real. Some of it is real but highly edited to tell a different story than what actually happened. I think it's popular because, as a species, we crave drama. We like to say we don't, we like to pretend we don't, but at the end of the day, we consume stories. We consume tales, fables. There's a reason storytelling has been around for ages. There's a reason it's still going on. Like, the most common forms of entertainment you would consume would be watching movies, playing video games, reading books, telling jokes. It's a very short story, depending on how long your joke is. Even right now, what you're doing is watching a story unfold, whether that is me getting this stream of consciousness talk going on, or watch the story of this game itself. I would be hard-pressed to find somebody who would genuinely believe that they do not crave drama on some level. And drama doesn't have to mean Greek tragedy, by the way. Drama just is a story. Period. So, when it comes to reality TV, there is that weird line being blurred, whether it's real, highly edited, or all staged, that we buy into, that we want to see, and see how these things unfold. sometimes it's putting ourselves in that situation, like, oh, well, what I do, how would this play out? And then we'll imagine that scenario, and sometimes when it's imagined, it's just us essentially imagining how it would look like on the show. Like, as if you're sitting there watching the TV and it's you there instead of so-and-so. Or you're there with them. Other times, I think that's what it comes down to. But I never really looked that much into it. I don't really sit down and watch TV. Like, I'll just watch things on YouTube or Netflix or Amazon Prime. I haven't really sat down and watched anything on a weekly basis in about 10 years. And well, no, that's not true, but I have to, like, actually make myself do that. But it also depends on the show, now. But it's hardly ever reality TV. The most recent one I was watching was, Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmare. Also, Kitchen's Nightmare. I get the titles confused, but the American and the European versions. Like, that's a good example of a show that is highly edited. And not staged, but producer meddling. They will deliberately create situations to put a lot of pressure on these restaurants so they will fail. Like, even if they were good, they would absolutely fail. Would I say more so in the American version than the European one? You know, I would say that. I'm not an expert, though. Anyway. And then, of course, there's also the producers like, okay, so, we need a happy ending, so can you just smile and do this, that, and that for the camera? Thanks. But the restaurants were real. They were failing for the obvious reasons every single time. And... yeah. Like, it's weird. It's weird that some people think it's real, 100%. That I don't understand. And I think that's why I give this umbrella term for drama. And that's why people like it so much. Because this is real drama. Like, real exciting things that you should aspire not to be, or look at these super happy endings. But, yeah. Alright. Next topic. Was there ever an event in your life that defied explanation? Yes. Many times. You can chalk things up to hallucinations, audio or visual, or phantom smell, whatever. I'm not saying I saw ghosts or spirits. I'm not saying I haven't seen them. But if you mean by defied explanation, I don't know, maybe I've been schizophrenic this whole time and I've just been in denial my whole life. Pretty sure that's not the case, though. I mean, if that was the case, I'm pretty sure I'd be having those experiences at least once a day. Probably a lot more. But, yeah. Like, cause then, usually the explanations I'll just hear is, oh, you just had a momentary hallucination, or maybe you were sleep deprived, and I'm like, sure, but that seems just as improvable, unfallible as saying if it was a ghost or spirit, which I didn't say it was, by the way. I'm just... but that's the other explanation everyone jumps to, but immediately would discredit it. And I'm like, but I also can't prove it was a hallucination. You can't prove it was a hallucination. Nobody can prove it was a hallucination because this event happened X while ago and we can't travel through time and test it. Like, I don't... How is saying it was a hallucination more acceptable and socially acceptable, and not, instead of just scientific, than saying we don't know what caused it? Like, it has to be this. And if it's not this, then you're insane and you probably think it's a ghost or spirit. And I'm like, I mean, I kind of just thought it was air drafts that opened the door and closed it. But apparently not. Apparently I think it's a ghost or a spirit. Clearly this is a story I've told before. And I'm not even gonna get into it here, but it always results into me thinking there were air drafts, but the person I tell the story to is like, no, that doesn't make sense. The door cannot open that way if it's just air pressure. And I'm like, but it can. Have you never heard a jar popping from air pressure? Well, that's a jar. That jar's not a door. And I'm like, okay, well, if it's not that, then what do you think? Well, I think you just thought the door was closed and you saw it open. And then but that was just your brain piecing in together information because you were expecting it to pop open. And I'm like, no, that's not how that works. Like, I know the concept you're describing. It's the blind spot in the eye. That's not how that works. That is a quick split-second popping and visual in your brain. Fun fact, there is a blind spot in our vision. And it's... I forget exactly where it is. I want to say it is the... Sorry, I'm just staring at my finger, trying to pinpoint where it's supposed to be. I want to say it is slightly above to the left. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, that part of our vision does not exist, and what our brain does is it plugs in the image that it believes should be there. And that's why sometimes when you turn really quickly, or you look up at a new section of the visual spectrum around you, you'll think you see something there. And it is gone right away. That's what that is. And that's what people usually try to describe to me when I explain the door opening and then closing. Like, and I can hear the locks go every... Not unlocking like it was locked, but the gears slipping in and out of the little metal part in the frame. And I'm like, that what you're describing would require it to have been a second, less than a second even. Like, this was about a 10-second thing I watched happen. It was clearly an air draft. And then they'll be like, but then when I debunk what they're trying to describe to me, they're like, oh, so what, you think it was a ghost? I'm like, no. I think it was an air draft. Like, but if it was an air draft, then it would happen more. And I'm like, not necessarily? That was a weird tangent and a half. What song always puts you in a good mood? I don't know. Am I allowed to name songs? I mean, I don't know. So many other YouTubers splice in music, copyrighted music into their monetized videos, and that's somehow perfectly okay, even though they never had permission to use it. Which, to me, means they aren't allowed to monetize, but I obviously don't understand the rules and regulations anymore. So I'm just gonna say, the soundtrack of this game, yeah. Play it safe. Did your family take... No, they did not take seasonal vacation. God, this sucks. Do you play any instruments? No, but I want to. I want to learn the violin, but I do not have time for that. You could argue, hey, stop playing these video games and then you'll have time for it. Alright, I made time for it. I live in an apartment complex with neighbors. No, not doing that. Oh, then go and pay for some lessons. I'm poor. No, I'm not doing that. I don't even own a car. I don't own a car because I wanted to live on my own. If I owned a car, I cannot barely afford this place. So I'm definitely not going to be able to afford violin lessons, and that's going to take a long while until I can start practicing on my own without a tutor. It's just not going to happen. Would love to learn the violin. Love it. I kinda want... I want to learn the piano, not to play, but just the technical aspects of it. Like, I would like to be able to look at a sheet of piano music and understand it. Like, I understand pitches, but I couldn't tell you what an F is, what an F flat is, B, any of that. Any of it. But I think that would be cool. I would probably play the pipe organ, though. That'd be awesome. How do you think traveling to a lot of different countries changes a person? Easily. There are so many different cultures out there. Like, yeah, even just before in this episode, I was like, what kind of naive and sheltered life would this be? I'm like, well, but I also caught myself immediately that there are probably actual cultures where that is so normal to be able to trust anybody around you because everyone is taught and raised to be such an upstanding person. And I'm envious of that. I'm so envious of that. And even just hearing what those cultures are like, actually having to experience it would be another thing entirely. Culture shock would flabbergast anybody. Okay, someone is running up and down the stairs. It's probably one of the kids. Yeah, I've seen them around on their scooters before and running up on the other neighbor's stairs. It's really annoying, but I don't want to be the old man shaking his cane on the porch quite yet. I'm just kind of waiting to see what goes on there. Alright, so cultures, how they change a person. Yeah, it's just seeing how the world with these different cultures. It's fascinating when I would rarely travel. It's not been a hot minute since I have. But it's always fun. And I always stand out like a sore thumb. But I stand out like a sore thumb where I am as it is. Well, maybe not so much anymore. When it's a new situation, I'm quiet, observing, trying to figure out the proper etiquette and feel of the room before I try and chameleon and blend my way in. Other times I just fade away into obscurity, that's also fine. Sometimes I prefer that more. But other times I'm an attention-seeking diva. Yeah, I'm not even talking about other cultures anymore, I'm just keep getting so distracted by the stair thing. Where did you go on your last vacation? Home. And by vacation, if you meant that time I got laid off from work, that would be it. I have not taken a vacation ever? Actually? 12 years. I can't afford to take time off work. I don't... That's not a thing I can do. Like, I don't understand how people can do vacations in similar positions to me, or are unwilling to sacrifice having a vacation so they can live on their own. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. But apparently I have very different values than a lot of other people. Which recent news story is the most weird? No. What's the most addictive mobile game you have played? I don't really play mobile games. Ah, wow, it's asking about the last movie I watched again. Let's not bother with that. What's your favorite thing about our office? What? This question's for anyone, right? Yeah, topic for anyone. About our office, I need context. I need way more context. New topic. What is the most embarrassing piece of clothing you own? I think we did that one before. What are the 3 best apps on your phone? That's a good question. I'm gonna say Discord, Telegram, and YouTube. Very basic bitch here. What was the best period of your life so far? What do you think the best period... What do you think would be the best period of your entire life? That's a loaded question, and we are not gonna answer that. What do you fear is hiding in the dark? Oh, that's a fun one. Anything. I think that's kind of the whole point. It's the unknown. So... I mean, how does one answer that question? It is the unknown. That is why it's scary. What's the best thing about traveling? How about the worst thing? Well, I mean, the concept in general would be new experiences. I'd say new food. But the worst thing would probably be... Probably just be being a tourist. And obviously a tourist, and then people will treat you differently. Usually, this doesn't happen often, but when I do travel, I try to blend into whatever the surrounding is, so I don't get treated differently. I don't like special treatment. In most cases. Like, 80% of the time I try and not stand out, like I said. But, I mean, I guess that's also a lie, because I am pretty gothic. I'm always in all black. I will always stand out no matter where I go. Even here. But, yeah, it's just the special treatment tourists will get, or being taken advantage of. Like, upcharging them, or treating them like they're stupid. Yeah, I guess that would be the worst thing. But I mean, I guess for me specifically, it's the fact that I can't travel. I can't afford it. Like, I don't have a car. So... It becomes very difficult and time-consuming if I were to ever do that. Like, even just places within the area I'm in. I mean, throw in the fact I don't like going outside in general, like, we got a problem. Also, new experiences are scary. So when it's a new experience like that, I would want to travel with somebody, ideally, so I would have some support system that I can rely on. That's not always available, though, or feasible. So, yeah, I used to do things alone a lot easier, back in my early 20s, I'm gonna say. But that was also just, you gotta do what you gotta do kind of stuff. Also, I was on 2 hours of sleep all the time, so it wasn't, like, much I can be doing. So maybe I didn't travel as much as I thought I did. Or comparatively, but I never really gave that much thought. When was the last time I went to a movie theater? Oh my god. My birthday last year. There's that. Before that, though, probably 4 or 3 years. Yeah, I'm gonna say like 2018 or 2017. And then before that would have been 3 or 2 more years. And it goes back to, I can't justify paying a movie ticket for a 90-minute experience when I could just have YouTube for free. Or Netflix. Like, those feel like better investments when it comes to consuming movies for me. But that's just me. I'm weird, I know. What will be the future of TV shows? I guess that depends on your definition of a TV show, because, Netflix will gladly upload an entire season of an entire show, but I wouldn't say TV show in that case, because a lot of that time it is deliberately designed to make you want to binge it. And some shows should be binged. Some shows are designed for that. Other shows, not so much. X-Files would be a great example. I love the X-Files. The 1990s, Agent Scully, Agent Mulder, so good. I would never binge the X-Files, though, because it is a very dry show. I have tried binging it, or marathoning it, back before binging was a term, many times. And I would get bored. So bored. Because the show is not designed to watch back-to-back episodes. It's meant to... You're supposed to sit on what you just viewed and think about it, and then come back to it the next day, or a week later. There's supposed to be a gap between the episodes, not 5 to 30 seconds. So, that being said, the trend I'm seeing is shows are wanting to be bingeable now. It could be very wrong, because as I've said before, I don't actually have cable, so I don't watch what's coming out right now. But that's the trend I think is going on. Richard, I'm not talking about news stories. I didn't do it last time, and I'm still not doing it. What is the silliest fear you have? Well, define silly. Like, that's not a good word. I would prefer... Oh, God. I'm gonna look up this term. Irrational, maybe? Yeah, I'm gonna say irrational. I would rather they said something like irrational fear, but I guess that would be outdated, because people would be like, oh no, every fear is completely irrational to that individual. And I'm like, yeah, okay, cool, but if you told me you are afraid of key lime pie, I'm sorry, but that's completely ridiculous. Like, I'm not saying you should be made fun of or laughed at, but you have to acknowledge that's a really specific and unreasonable thing to be afraid of. I understand the person probably had a very traumatic experience where the key lime pie murdered their parents and made them watch, and then burned down their house and ate their cat or something right in front of them, yeah, anybody would. That's completely rational to be afraid of key lime pine from there. You're right. It is, however, irrational because. Okay. It is, however, irrational because the vast majority of people will not have that experience. A specific traumatic event does not represent the entirety of the population. What you're afraid of is association to what had caused the problem. That's not... That's not a... I mean, you can boil every single fear down to that, I guess, but... I don't know. Anyway, silliest fear I have. Like, to me, being afraid of spiders is silly. I am afraid of spiders, and a lot of people are afraid of spiders. It's still kind of silly, though, because the spiders I would be afraid of are like... Well, I guess not anymore, but when I was younger, daddy longlegs, which technically aren't even spiders, but we're not getting into that. Like, I'd be terrified of them. But, everyone is. I still would see it as silly. Does it make it mean it's rational because the vast majority of people agree spiders are scary? I don't know. Not the way I would say it. Hopefully I explained it semi-well, but I doubt it. I mean, I would also say the dark, but again, that's such a common thing to be afraid of. That end is not even the darkness, it's what could be in the dark. That's usually what people mean when they say they're afraid of the dark. However, there is the specific fear of darkness itself. I forget what that's called. Yeah, actually, I mean, I already... fear of dark phobia. Nycto? Really? Nyctophobia? Nyctophobia? That's not the term I was thinking of. Did we... I could be thinking of a very different term, obviously. But I could have sworn it was something else that started with an A. The terms do change over time. That, and again, I might just be thinking of something else. But yeah, Nyctophobia. Fear of the dark or darkness. Oh, what book has influenced you the most? That's a good question. Influence. That's the key word. So it's not favorite. I'm going to say... What's his name, though? I want to make sure I pronounce it right. Yeah, I know what you look like. I want to know how I pronounce your name. Pronunciation. There we go. So, I would say Invisible Monsters by Chuck Palahniuk. I hope I'm getting that right. In fact, let's just make sure I got the title right too, because now I'm guessing myself. Invisible Monster by Chuck... Yeah, okay. I would say Invisible Monsters by Chuck Palahniuk. That book, when I read it, it was at a very particular moment in my life. I'm gonna say I was somewhere between 18 or 20, most likely 18 or 19. And that book made me, first of all, read everything he's ever written, just immediately afterwards. That's a weird noise. Sorry. And yeah, I'm not gonna explain what the book is about. If you want to check it out, go ahead. It does his very classic thing where... Yeah, that's not how I would word it. It does something I find interesting. There's apparently two versions of the book, one where it's told in chronological order, and one where it's not. I recommend reading the one where it's not, because it is such a good experience. Telling stories not in chronological order is a very difficult thing to write. It is a challenge. Some writers can pull it off beautifully, others are horrible at it. Chuck Palahniuk, however, does it very well. Very, very well. So I would recommend checking out that version, specifically. Because it would be a shame and a waste not to, if you are interested. Oh, right, for those of you who don't know who this author is, he's the one who wrote Fight Club. That's what he's gonna be known for until the day he dies. Yeah, so, that movie? That's based on a book. And it's a book he wrote. So you already have an idea of his style. And, well, for those of you who have seen Fight Club. If you haven't seen Fight Club, it's one of the movies I would recommend and say should be watched. I don't know if I would say it's biased or not, though. Because I wouldn't put Fight Club in my top 10 or even 20 favorite movies. But I recognize the cultural impact it's had and influence. Much like the Titanic. I hate the Titanic. Like, I think I mentioned this at some point before, but I'm not gonna get emotionally invested in this love story when I know Jack dies. Like, I'm not gonna feel bad. I'm already emotionally guarded. However, I do recognize the excellent acting, the excellent cinematography, the set design, the music. Oh, it's good. Objectively, it is a good movie. And I would tell people who are interested in film history and study to watch it at least once. I, however, find the movie, sitting down through the movie, extremely tedious and boring, and I do not enjoy it on an entertainment level. I enjoy dissecting and studying the movie, and, like, paying attention to the lighting, or the set design, like, stuff like that. Because it is, again, objectively what I would consider a good movie, but my opinion is not the end-all be-all. That being said, I am entertained with Fight Club, but it's not in my favorite movies ever. I'm not saying it's bad, it's good. So, yeah. Oh, maybe that would be an interesting conversation topic at some point. Just going over random movies I hate, but completely accept are good, objectively good films, and I guess wish I actually could enjoy. I don't know. Anywho, do you care about fashion? Yes. What style of clothes do you usually wear? Well, I kind of already answered that. I am always in all black. I am very, very goth. I will wear flip-flops whenever available. If it's a professional setting, however, such as business or work, I do wear shoes, because I'm not that insane. But, yeah. If the flip-flops do not look good on me, though, I don't wear them. Certain flip-flop colors are objectively horrible. That, and when you wear all black, only certain colors will pair with that very well, when it's only on your feet. I'm gonna go ahead and say I like pea coats and trench coats a lot when it comes to jacket wear. Tailed coats are cool too. I don't like shorts on myself. Other people, sure, sometimes. But I'm not a fan of leg hair, and I am way too lazy to shave. Or rather, I don't want to shave every single day, so I just don't. I should get laser hair surgery if I ever get money. Oh, that's so good. But anyway. So I never wear shorts, because I do not like looking at my legs. Yeah. I'm pretty much always wearing a shirt. But when I'm home, I don't wear pants. I do wear underwear, though. I just don't feel comfortable in pants, but I feel less comfortable not in something. Apparently, if it's... I'm like, wait, hold on, I don't like shorts, but I'm totally fine just walking around in my underwear. That's weird. Apparently, if it's not super short or super long leg wear, then I can't do it. That is so odd. Like, I never thought about that before. Weird. Alright. Next. Generate random topic. What was your favorite book as a child? Captain Underpants. Done. The whole saga. Now, speaking of, I should probably rebuy all those books and just read through them again. Oh god. I will also throw Goosebumps in there, but I think I started getting into Goosebumps more around adolescence, tween, early teen, preteen era. Definitely as a child, it was Captain Underpants. Captain Underpants is, of all things, what made me want to become a writer. Now I'm writing psychological horror novels, and it's all thanks to Captain Underpants. David Pilkey would shake his head in utter disappointment if he knew that. What was the last thing he purchased? Probably the soup, honestly. It's not a very exciting thing, I've already talked about it. How much time do you spend watching sports in a week? 0. Last thing I purchased, already answered that. What piece of technology is really frustrating to use? Oh, well. How old do I think I am? I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know what I would say is the most difficult or frustrating to use. I suppose Wi-Fi to an extent, like if it's not working, like that's frustrating. Or if you can't connect for some reason. An app mysteriously appears on your phone that does something amazing. What does it do? I immediately just pictured Death Note. That would be a terrifying world if one, the Death Note was real, and 2, if it just randomly appeared on people's phones. We, as a society, would be fucked. 100%. The next thing that comes to mind, I would say... Digimon. I would love if it was like a Digimon thing, where I go to the digital world and then I get to hang out with all my totally not kinky... I refuse to believe Digimon is supposed to just be for kids. There is way too many kinky things in that show, alright? The amount of God, where do I start? There are Digimon that are very clearly just in BDSM gear, like, Demiville. I mean, both the male and the female counterparts. I mean, that's just black leather getup. Puppetmon, that's all bondage. There was so much bondage with Puppetmon and mummification. Leomon, do I even need to start? You look me in my eyes, not my feet. Get your eyes off my feet. You look me in the eyes and tell me Leomon's feet are not so well detailed and massive that they are not meant to appease people with a foot fetish. It's impossible. There is way too much detail on his feet alone when you compare that to a lot of the others. Vor? Lots of Vor in Digimon. Like, way more Vor than I thought there was in Digimon. Like, oh my god. Like, I will not accept the argument that Digimon is not worked on by extremely kinky people. Ugh. So that being said, now that I'm an adult, and, I see it for what it is, I wanna go there. I wanna go to Digimon Land, and I am going to have myself a big old gay party. Ugh. Alright. Generate. How often do you go to the library? Not as much as I would have liked. I used to volunteer at a library back when I thought that would actually get me a job there, but oh well. That all went downhill. Yay, English major. Doesn't fucking matter. Yeah, I don't really go to the library now because I don't need a quiet place to read now. I live on my own. That, and I'm a grown-ass man, and I can buy the books I want and rent them with my Kindle. I do both the Kindle and physical books, by the way. It kind of just depends on what the book is, I guess. It's weird. It's very much a texture and touch thing for me. Like, there's some books I can't imagine ever reading on the Kindle. But there's other books where I'm like, I would never want to actually own the physical copy of. I don't know, I'm weird. I keep saying that as if it's such a surprise to you guys. Oh shit, I'm level 50. Yeah, 35 ability points, so... you know what? Let's just go big. Let's keep going. Who's gonna stop me? Are you very active? Or do you prefer just to relax in your free time? I walk about 3 hours every workday. So, if you consider that being active, I'm very active. I don't relax, though. I have a very hard time doing that. I find this relaxing, but I've explained that to death on why this relaxes me. So, yeah. But I guess I would say I would prefer to relax, but that's hard to say. If you were a king/queen, what would your throne look like? Very large backing for sure. I would want it so there's a good amount of space between my legs and the arm rests. And it would have to be high enough that my feet do not touch the ground. And I would want it to be like a staircase leading up to it, so that way I can do a nice little cross leg and cross leg, cross feet, and just stare down upon the peasants who oppose me. But no, yeah, I want it to be very big compared to my body, but not big enough that it's, like, ridiculous. That's a weird question, but I like it. My favorite food? Favorite type of food would be sushi. Specifically, I really like inari. It's a sweet tofu with rice. But yeah, sushi, as much as I say, or do vegetarian diets or vegan diets every now and then, I never give up sushi. I just don't. Fish, I like it too much. I'm sorry. Not really. I've never really made vegetarian or veganism a personality or a lifestyle. I genuinely enjoy vegan food. And I don't understand why there's... Well, I mean, I do understand why. But I don't care to make it, like, a crucial moral thing. I eat it because it tastes good. To me. That being said, the reason I don't eat as much meat anymore as I used to, though, is because I am getting older, and I do not digest meat as well as I used to. And that's just a fact. So, red meat, very seldomly now. White meat, chicken, and all that, it's easier for me to digest, but it's not... It's still problematic. Even fish is a little bit problematic for me, and that pains me. But, yeah, I'll still eat them. I'll never go out of my way to avoid fish. Great. I bet a lot of people are expecting me to say top ramen, or just noodles, some noodle dish. Because of the amount of times I have talked about noodles on this Let's Play. It's just because it's cheap and really quick to make when I'm hungry. Because I don't want to waste time making food in between recordings or anything. We are almost at the hour mark. What's the best way to travel? I'm fine with airplanes, I'm fine with cars. Never been on a train, so I can't really say. Walking is a pain. I would say electric wheelchair. Not that I have one. Not that I want one. Not that I need one. But that sounds boss. That sounds amazing. But, like, the way I picture it is, going back to the throne, I would just be sitting on a throne, just cross-legged, just zooming around. Ugh. I like the look of how that would be. To experience phantom vibration, feeling your bone vibrate even though it didn't. Well, yes. Pretty sure everybody has. That's a normal thing. Also, that's just called association on a basic level. Whatever. Alright, I guess I'm gonna end this here. I might honestly keep going, because I want to be playing, but I don't actually want to progress the plot. I'm weird, I know. But I guess I won't make you guys sit through that. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. Or maybe I'll still do more and I'll edit this all as one big thing. Whatever. Thank you guys so much for watching. Keep those toes wiggling, keep your flip-flops clean, brush your milk, don't do school, and stay in... teeth. I don't remember my outro. Bye!